Hello world, hello world. How you guys doing? Listen, welcome to Mayhem in May. We are on day 23, and today, guys, we are going to focus on what moves the needle. I'm excited about this topic. All of these topics are my favorite topics, right? But we have a great speaker that is going to be embracing the stage and gracing the stage with his knowledge, wisdom, and understanding on this topic that really showcases on focusing on what moves the needle. However, allow me to give my just 2 cent synopsis of this particular topic. No matter what stage you are at in your business, focusing on the things that will get you to the next 10x level are the only things that matter. Some tactics will help get you beyond that point, but at least each 10x stage you reach, only then should you reevaluate your process and where your effort is being spent. By keeping this intense focus, you'll be better able to grow and learn what works and what doesn't for your business, and where others in your organization should spend their time. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to be the one that teaches you about this topic, right? Why? Because we already have a speaker for it, right? Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to bring to the stage the one, the only, Mr. Roy Johnson Jr. Sir, are you there?
Yes, sir. I am here. How you
Absolutely.
doing?
I'm amazing, sir. Well, listen here, man. We are on day 23. You are our teacher, and I am the student. So, sir, the floor is now yours.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, uh, thank you for having me. Um, and so, what we're actually talking about today is, as you may mention, is focus on what moves the needle. So, when you think about focus, what does focus mean? Focus means to follow one course until successful. Again, focus. Follow one course until successful. The great Tony Robbins once quoted, "Where focus goes, energy flows." And if you don't take the time to focus on what matters, then you're living a life of someone else's design. So for a moment, I want everyone to do this for me. I want you to turn on your focus. I want you to turn on your motivation. I want you to turn on your dedication. And I want you to turn off all excuses. So I'm going to repeat: focus, turn on your focus, turn on your motivation, turn on your dedication, and turn off the excuses. Because guess what? I don't want to see no excuse. I don't want to speak no excuse. And I don't want to hear any excuses. Do it with me. See no excuses, speak no excuses, and hear no excuses. But before I begin, I just want to let you know I did not come here to make you feel comfortable, but to shake up that foundation. And so before I begin, I want you to know and get a clear understanding of who I am. So I am an empowered, bold trailblazer, seeking every day to make an exponential impact in the lives of others. I often wonder when people begin to see what I see within themselves: greatness. I hear the sound of echoes in the still of the night as I sleep peacefully and quietly, contemplating what my next move and steps will be. I see greatness. I see genius. I see untapped potential in everyone. I want to leave a memorable impact and a legacy for the world to remember me by. I am an empowered, bold trailblazer, seeking every day to make an exponential impact in the lives of others. I pretend that I don't hurt when I do. I feel the excruciating pain of others when they are hurting. I dream about being a highly renowned motivational speaker on an international platform, speaking to thousands and thousands of people about how sweet it will be if more of us will work collectively as a unit to achieve more together. I try to be still, but I can't, because I'm on a mission to create a powerful and impactful movement. I hope to reach, teach, educate, empower, and inspire others to live out their dreams authentically, intently, purposefully, and unapologetically. I am who God has wonderfully and meticulously created me to be. I am his humble servant. I am Roy L. Johnson Jr. So we're talking about moving the needles. Let's talk about a few simple needles that takes movement. So when we talk about moving needles, how does the needle of a car moves? By pressing the gas to accelerate the vehicle. What about stepping on the scale? What about a compass? A compass moves when you move in the direction that you want it to go, or in the direction that you are desiring to go in. That's when a compass moves. What about a blood pressure machine? It moves when you pump. When you pump the tube, air into the tube, that's when the needle begins to move. But the mystery question is, as a business owner, how do we effectively move the needle in our business and our lives? So the great thing about you showing up this evening or day, whatever hour you decide to show up, you have showed up to receive 4 tips on how to move the needle. Tip number 1, set SMART goals. Tip number 2, never give in to small things first temptation. Tip number 3, don't get distracted by the strife, drama, confusion, or noise pollution. And when we get to that tip, I'm going to throw in one other thing not to get distracted by. And tip number 4, stop living your life on cruise control. So tip number 1, let's talk about tip number 1. It sounds so basic, but oftentimes it's overmissed. Let's talk about setting SMART goals. So what does the S symbolize or stand for? S stands for specific. Goals that are specific oftentimes have a greater chance of being accomplished. So to make a goal specific, you want to answer 5 W questions: the who, the what, the where, the when, and the why. M, measurable. A SMART goal oftentimes have criteria for measuring progress. If there's no criteria, you would not be able to determine your progress and if you are on track to reach your goal. So to make your goals measurable, ask yourself these questions: how many or how much? How do I know if I reach my goal? What is my indicator of progress? The A, achievable. They are attainable and not impossible to achieve. So a SMART goal must be achievable and attainable. This will help you to figure out ways you can realize that goal and work towards it. The achievability of a goal should be stretched and to make you feel challenged and a little bit uncomfortable, but defined well enough that you can actually achieve it. So ask yourself these questions for the A. Do I have the resources and capabilities to achieve that goal? Or, and have others done it successfully before? The R, realistic. Within reach, realistic, and relevant to your life's purpose. A SMART goal must be realistic and a goal that can be realistic, achieved, given the availability of resources and time. A SMART goal is likely realistic if you believe that it can be accomplished. So ask yourself, when we talk about realistic, ask yourself these questions. Is the goal realistic and within reach? Is the goal reachable given the time and resources that are available to you? And are you able to commit to achieving that goal? And the T, time bound. Time bound can be daily, monthly, yearly goals, but be very specific with the time frame chosen. A SMART goal must be well defined when it comes down to the time, in that it starts and it finishes. It needs a start date and a finish date. Start date, finish date. When you have that specific characteristic set, that holds you accountable. Many times, many people don't want that accountability, so they don't give themselves a time frame. A SMART goal has a time frame, and it gives you a sense of urgency. Therefore, there's a little bit more motivation to achieve that goal. So what are some advantages of these SMART goals? It helps to push you along further. It helps to shape a roadmap for you reaching your goals. It helps to provide a sense of direction and clarity. It helps you to get organized. It helps you to keep focused. But one of the most important things at this particular point in time is it helps you to move the needle. So I want each of you, to ask yourself, what are your goals for the day, for the week, for the month, and even the year? Evaluate those goals to see if they got you just sleeping, just interested, or do they have you motivated, excited, or turned up and fired up in the direction of productivity? Put your game plan on paper to make sure you are investing, spending, or allocating your time and resources frivolously on non-revenue generating activities that's not going to move your needle. We can all reflect. I know I can. We can all reflect and remember others or even ourselves saying, it's not enough hours in the day. How many of you remember yourself saying that there's not enough hours in a day? I'm guilty. The fact of the matter is, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, and how we allocate those hours is solely at our discretion. Let me put it in another way. It's not about the number of hours in the day, but about the amount of work, focus, energy, motivation, and commitment we put in those hours. Think about that. It's not about the number of hours in the day, but about the amount of work, focus, energy, motivation, and commitment we put into those hours. Hashtag goals. So one of my great influencers once stated, don't mistake movement for achievement. He also stated, either you run the day or the day runs you. Who am I speaking of? The great Jim Rohn. So let's talk about number 2. And I hope you're getting value thus far, but it's only going to get gooder. Yes, I said gooder. It's only going to get gooder. It's only going to get better. All right. So tip number 2, never give into small things first temptation. So you may be wondering, what am I talking about? Start on your first major task first, then loop back around and complete your small things later. Small things are like jackrabbits and baby kids. They continue to multiply. If you start working on your small things first, before you realize it, the end of the day has come and you're still working so diligently on the small things. Hence, your major things will be sitting waiting on you just to give them a little attention and focus. So again, small things are like little jackrabbits and baby kids. They don't die, they multiply. And as long as you're giving your attention to those small things, your greater things, your bigger projects, your bigger ideas, they're going to go by the wayside. And sometimes never touched. Discipline yourself to get straight into your most important tasks. So you've got to discipline yourself to get into your most important tasks until they have been fully executed. So you may be wondering, okay, you're telling me all of this. You're telling me all of this, but I need to know how. Well, guess what? I'm so glad that you asked. This is how you do it. You carve out a large block of time so you can work without interruptions. Again, you carve out large blocks of time so you can work without interruptions. It's basically about knowing what you want and throwing your whole self in, focusing intently and centralizing and investing all of you, your energy, your time, and your attention on that particular task, goal, or project. So how do you do it? By carving out large blocks of time so you can work without interruptions. Tip number 3. Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite tips. Don't get distracted by the strife, drama, confusion, noise pollutions, and I'm gonna throw in turbulence. So don't get distracted by strife, drama, confusion, noise pollutions, and the turbulence. So like I said, I threw in turbulence because this is a prime example. This just means when you are dealing with turbulence, all this means is to buckle up your seatbelt. It's going to be a fun ride. It's going to be a bumpy ride. But by all means, it means for you to keep going. When an airplane, let's think about when we're on the airplane. Many of us have been on the airplane and have experienced some form of turbulence, rather it's a mild form, a major form. We all experience some form of turbulence. And so when an airplane experiences turbulence in the air, the seatbelt signs flashes on, and the captain comes on the intercom and make the announcement. We are experiencing turbulence. Please remain seated. But the biggest realization in that whole matter is he continues to fly the plane through the turbulence towards his specific destination. The course may change slightly, but at the end of the day, the destination remains the same. That's why many of us as business owners don't do in our business or our personal lives. We don't keep going. When it gets bumpy, or you get distracted, or you abruptly and conveniently stop as a means of creating an easy escape out. In other words, you're giving up. You confuse the layover as your final destination. Then you quit and take residence there. But the worst part about it is you would have almost been there. You would have almost been at your destination. You would have almost been at your breakthrough, your purpose, your passion, your vision. You're stopped. So what do you do now? What do you do now to get that needle back moving? You get refocused. You get recommitted to the process and to accomplishing your goals. Recommit yourself. Get refocused. Remove all of the distractions, the noise, the turbulence. Get back on course and make it to that destination. Now, I'm going to say something, and it may not sit easy with you but remember what I told you. I said I didn't come here to make you feel comfortable, but I came here to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, because we're trying to get those needles moving in the right direction of productivity. So fasten on your seatbelt, because it's about to get a little bit turbulent with this statement. Many of you want success, but aren't built for what comes with success. Ouch. Many of you want success, but aren't built for what comes with the success. This is only part of what comes with it. So just say no to all of the distractions that I may mention. I'm going to use, I want to use David and Goliath for a brief moment, if that's okay with you. See, as a business owner and in your personal life, there are always going to be obstacles. There will always be challenges. There will always be giants. What is your distracting giant or giants? I pose that question to you. But I'm telling you, as a form of encouragement, I'm telling you, each of you, this day, this hour, this minute, this second, that this is and will be the day that you are going to not allow your giant to defy you, to define you, to deter you, hinder you, or undermine your authority. This is the last day. Those of you under the sound of my voice, make note that this is the last day. Trust me, I understand, and I know it hasn't been easy, because sometimes we feel so isolated, we feel alone, like we're on Gilligan's Island, on an isolated island, alone by ourselves. Trust me, I get it. But it's your time to take back what rightfully belongs to you and win. It's time to give your giants that black eye that so rightfully deserve, right? See, there are many times in our life when you feel like giving up, when you feel like just quitting, when you feel like throwing in a towel, when you feel like you're being torn down instead of being built up. When those who are supposed to be on your side turn their backs on you. But despite whatever situation it may be, whatever the situation may be, will you buckle up under the pressure, lose focus, and stop the movement of your needle, or will you rise to the occasion? See, let me take you to church. No, it's not church. Let me take you to church for a brief moment, just for a quick second. And I just hope that I'm not speaking to some narcissistic group of listeners or business owners who thinks everything is solely centered around them. Because if you are, you're solely mistaken. Because guess what? See, the Bible says that David got up and ran into the army of the Philistines. He ran towards the battle. He didn't retreat. He didn't let the naysayers deter him from getting done what needed to be done. That's that noise I'm talking about. That's that noise pollution that I am talking about. He rose to the occasion. And like an eagle, being the only bird that thrives and flies into the storm, it's time for you to fly into the next dimension of where you have been called to. Stay committed and focus on your dream, your vision, your idea, your goals, your purpose, your impact or difference you are desiring to make, and your legacy. Let me ask you, will you leave a scuff mark or an embedded imprint? Or will you be a person who just existed? I can't answer that for you, but you have to be able and willing to answer that for yourself. What is your assignment and your goals? Stay focused and committed to what productively moves the needle. Yes. Your teeth may be chattering. Your knees may be knocking. Your palms of your armpits may be sweating a little bit more than usual. Your heart may be beating outside of your chest, but that doesn't matter because it's not about you, but it's about the nation of people you've been called to serve. It's not about your convenience. Matter of fact, God would place you in an inconvenient situation and expose you to a famine. And when I talk about famine, I'm not only just talking about food, but I'm talking about opportunities. I'm talking about life. I'm talking about peace, etc. Just to shift you to the right place and place you at the right time so you can convince and do what he wants you to do at a particular designated time for you to do it. So I'm asking you, why are you still sitting around playing mind games with yourself? Get up and run. Run after your dream. Run after your ideal. Run after your goals. Run after your vision. Run after your purpose. Run with everything within you and know that you have everything you need to fulfill your destiny lying within inside of you. See, the great Martin Luther King once he said, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you cannot walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Don't confuse a roadblock for a stop sign. I repeat, do not confuse a roadblock for a stop sign. See, let's look at these 3 arrows. One pointing to David, the other one pointing to his weapon, and then another point to the rock. What I thoroughly love about David is that David was not only one of the youngest, the smallest, the least likely or underrated, but his weapon of choice was underrated. There will be times in your life when people will not believe in you or what you are carrying. But I'm going to tell you one thing that separated David from Goliath. And that was his heart for God and for God's people. If you are going to defeat your giants and move that needle, you're going to need heart, focus, and commitment. And when you think about turning around and giving up, always think about the underrated and undefeated David, who ran towards the Philistines and defeated the giant Goliath. So, hey, just keep calm and just say no. It's nothing wrong with saying no. It's okay. I give you permission to say no. Let's practice it. No. No. No to the drama. No to the confusion. No to the noise pollution. No to the toxicity. No to the distractions. Just keep calm and say no. Kobe Bryant, rest his soul, stated, it's the magic within each of us that gives us the potential to inspire the world. What potential lies within you that the world is waiting on? The last tip. Tip number 4. Stop living your life on cruise control. What are you talking about, Roy? When you say stop living my life on cruise control? Oh, yeah. You know how we get in the car and we accelerate the gas to the speed limit that we are desiring. That's comfortable. That's comfortable for us. That's comfortable at a comfortable rate of speed. That's comfortable enough so we don't get stopped by the police. That's cruise control. So we're cruising on 80 miles per hour. In this illustration, 80 miles per hour is our comfort zone. That equates to stagnation. Now, we want to move that needle. We want to move that needle. So how do we move that needle? We move that needle by getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. So now we've moved that needle from 80 miles per hour to 130 miles per hour. That's very uncomfortable, which means we have to continue to watch over our back, look around, make sure ain't no police around to stop us from getting to our destination. But this also the area and arena where manifestation takes place. So let's decipher the difference between cruising on 80 miles per hour and 130 miles per hour. So at 80 miles per hour, that's your comfort zone. That's the old territory. That's your old territory. Stagnation. You're operating in a lower version of yourself. You're operating mediocrity. There's no growth. You're operating in doubt. You operating with a fixed mindset. You feel like you're not good enough. Oh, it didn't work the first time, so why should I do it again? Mentality. I don't have the money. You're not qualified. You don't have a college degree. You're reminded of your past beliefs, your past mistakes, your past failures. That's the 80 miles. That's your comfort zone. Now let's go to the 130 miles where it's uncomfortable, but it's also the land of manifestation, baby. So at 130 miles per hour, you're uncomfortable. It's new territory. It's manifestation. You're operating in a higher version of yourself. Not the lower, but the higher version of yourself. You're operating in excellence. There's growth taking place. You're operating on crazy faith, despite what happened before. You're operating. You know what? Say it didn't happen before, but I don't even have the money. But you know what? I'm going to step out on some crazy faith. I'm gonna close my eyes and I'm gonna take that leap. That's uncomfortable. Didn't nobody say that that was going to be easy. It's uncomfortable operating in your faith. You're operating with hope. You're operating with growth mindset. This area, it magnifies your deficiencies. That's why a lot of us avoid this area of uncomfortability, because it magnifies your deficiencies. You're stretched beyond your measures. There's no cap or limit for your growth. It causes you to look at your future self. There are limitless possibilities. There's access to mentorship. It challenges the potential within you. And it also reminds you of what's possible. So again, stop operating on cruise control. Put a little bit more gas to the pedal. Live life on the edge. Do something you've never done before. Make yourself a little bit uncomfortable. But it's going to be that area of comfortability where you're going to start seeing manifestation. Nothing extraordinary happens in your safe zone. So to recap the tips. Tip number 1, set SMART goals. Tip number 2, never give in to small things first temptation. Tip number 3, don't get distracted by the strife, drama, confusion, noise pollutions, or the turbulence. And tip number 4, stop living your life on cruise control. So my closing remarks. You have the nerve to have a vision during a pandemic, in the middle of COVID, in the middle of inflation, in the middle of gas prices going up, in the middle of being quarantined, in the middle of when you don't know how bills were going to get paid, in the middle of knowing how you were not knowing how you were going to feed your children. You still have something tugging and pulling at you. You still have your purpose. You still have your drive. You still have your commitment. You still have your passion. You still have an unrelenting and unwavering faith. You still have your plans. After all of that, don't lose focus in the midst of all of the distractions, noise pollution, confusion, turbulence, and strife going on around you. Get away. Stay focused and committed to what moves the needle. Stop grieving over the things that you lost. Stop moping over the people who walked out of your life or the things that didn't work out. The past business ventures and partnership that fell by the wayside. The friends and relationship that you lost. Stop grieving over past mistakes and failures and keep it moving. The longer you invest your energy into those things that didn't happen, it's the longer you stay away from that which God has already ordained for you. Invest your energy in those things that's going to move the needle productively. So, my name is Roy Johnson, aka the Lunchologist, and I approve this broadcast. Dr. Pitts, back to you, sir.
Wow, wow, wow. Roy, sir, man, that was just amazing, man. I definitely appreciate you for just dropping the knowledge. And I think that one of the things I like to reference back to when it talks about focus on what moves the needle is that you use my acronym that I teach so relatively well to all of my, my mentees or when I'm doing coaching. And, you and I've shared, rooms together in regards of, being on teams, and that's very, very important, which is the acronym of focus. Follow one course until successful. It is very vital and it's very important, not just to your business, but to your life, right? I want you guys to pay
Absolutely.
attention to when it comes to focusing on what moves the needle. What you do in your life will transition into your business, and what you do into your business will transition into your life, right? You gotta know how to compartmentalize each one, right? So, Roy,
Exactly.
I have a few questions for you. The first question that I have for you is, when did you know that you wanted to become an entrepreneur?
Well, it's funny that you asked that question because I live the traditional life of, hey, you go to school, you get good grades, you graduate. You
Yeah.
go to college, you get the grades, and you graduate and get that ideal job. Well, that wasn't the case. I originally was going to college to become a doctor. I wanted to be an OBGYN. And I was always so fascinated with that growing up. Well, fast forward, I graduated from college, didn't go into the medical field, I went to education. Well, in education, my methodology for teaching wasn't customary to what they wanted or expected of me. So I left there. Then I got into corporate America. Went into corporate America, I was in management. And I define management as nothing more than running an adult daycare. That's all that management was, running an adult daycare. But it was during that time when I found myself at a crossroad because I started having health challenges. I went to my doctor, and my doctor said, basically, if I kept on going to that job, I wasn't going to be here very much longer because of my blood pressure. It was at a level to where it became unmanageable. So I found myself at that crossroad. And it was during that time at that crossroad when I acted out on faith, submitted my letter of resignation, and I explored an entrepreneurial opportunity. So to say that becoming an entrepreneur was always on my radar, it wasn't. I had that 9 to 5 mentality. But when all else is said and done, despite everything that I went through, I knew that process was only to prepare me for where I am today.
Wow.
And that has been 13 years ago, sir.
Wow. Come on, sir. Somebody need to hear that story. Somebody need to hear that story. So tell us, Roy, next question. How did you get the idea for your business that you decided that this was going to be the thing that you decided that you wanted to do?
Well, you know what? I've always had individuals come up to me saying, you know what? You need to be a counselor. I said, no. So I ended up my first business venture. I'm a jack of many trades. I've done you name it. I probably already done it. But I started my business as an entrepreneur as a mobile notary signing agent 13 years ago, and it's still going. But as I progressed, when God begins to speak to you, he could be speaking to you. He could be speaking to you for so long, for years, but you don't hear him because of all the noise, all the ruckus, all the distractions that are going on. But it took the pandemic. It took the pandemic for him to sit me down and for me to be able to listen to what he had to say. And when he told me is life coaching, business coaching is the direction that I need to be in. Helping those people that I have been called to serve. What's the direction that I need to be heading in? And so when I gained clarity with that, I sat down, I zoned everything out, I focused, and I got certified as a life coach, as a business coach, as a relationship coach. I mean, because it all dealt with helping and serving the people that I've been called to serve.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Next question. What does a typical day look like for you? You know, people don't understand when you're an entrepreneur, you know, our schedules can run crazy. Sometimes people think that, uh we not doing anything, or we just, we're always just pretending like we're busy. So what does a typical day look like for you?
Oh, do you really want to know?
Mhm.
Look. I resigned from a 9 to 5, a 8 hour day to go from a 9 to 5 to almost a 24-hour day type of thing because it really just don't stop. Um, so a typical day for me would look like I get up early in the morning, 6, maybe sometime earlier, 6 o'clock in the morning, get myself going. My first meeting Monday through Wednesday is at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's at 7 o'clock in the morning. Once I get off that meeting, then depending on if I have some closing schedule, hey, I attend to those closings. Then I head over to the office. In the office, I'm confined in the office working on different projects, different tasks that's going to move the needle in the direction that I need to go and to allow me to serve the people that I've been called to serve. So typically my day, it doesn't end at 5 o'clock, it doesn't end at 6, it doesn't end at 7. You see, it's 8, 9 o'clock and we're still working. So this is basically pretty much what my day typically looks like. And oftentimes it don't go as planned. You got to roll with the punches. You have to roll with the punches. But because my day doesn't always go the way I planned, does that mean I quit? Does that mean I drop everything that need to be done that day? No. I just make the proper adjustments and I keep going.
Yes. Yes, absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Last question, my brother. Last question. What motivates you?
You know, what really motivates me is when I accomplish those things that I've set out to do. When I've helped somebody get to another level that they didn't even expect to get to. When I help other people learn some new information that they didn't once know. Because one thing I know about our society is that they perish for the lack of knowledge. And so, what good am I to keep it all to myself if I don't put it into the hands of someone else? We all have been called to serve a nation of people. And it's people out there that's waiting on you, that's waiting on me to hear our voice, to utilize our services just so they too can get their breakthrough. Will you be accountable for somebody not getting their breakthrough because you couldn't get outside of your head? You couldn't get outside of yourself. Remember, it's not about you, it's not about me, but the people that we've been called to serve.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Mr. Roy Johnson, sir, I definitely appreciate you, man. Can you do us a favor for everybody that is watching now live and the ones that are watching the replay? Mr. Johnson, can you give everybody all of your social media handles? How can people stay in contact with you? How can people get in contact with you, sir?
All right. So first of all, if you want to get in contact with me, one, my website. You can go to www.thebusinesslauncherllc.org. You can also reach me by email, roy@royljohnsonjr.com. You can also get on my schedule at www.calendly.com/321 launch with Roy. And then I'm gonna be brave, and I'm gonna throw my telephone number out there. No spam calls. No spam calls. You can reach me at 832-995-7191. And if I don't answer, please either send me a text or leave a message, and I would definitely give you a call back. Facebook, Roy L. Johnson Jr. Instagram, I am Roy Johnson. And I look forward to serving each and every last one of you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate you for everything that you have done on today. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys heard it from the horse's mouth, Mr. Roy Johnson Jr. himself, as he spoke and gave knowledge about focus on what moves the needle for day 23. Listen, as we continue this mayhem in May, tomorrow is day 24. You guys already know my quote. Coming together is the beginning. Sticking together is progress, but working together is success. My name is Dr. Casual Pitts, and I'll see you guys on tomorrow for day 24. Peace.